We've all seen the classic image. A matador waves a swirl of red, and a massive bull charges directly at the cape. It's a familiar story, much like the idea that bats are blindly flapping through the night, or that an alpha wolf must dominate its pack through physical force to stay in charge. These images are everywhere in our movies and cartoons. But if we look at the actual biology, we find that these popular animal facts are almost entirely made up. Cattle are actually colorblind to red. The bull is simply reacting to the sudden, threatening movement of the fabric. And bats? Every species of bat has eyes and can see. Many of them actually have excellent night vision. The alpha wolf is also a myth. In the wild, wolf packs are family units. There are no hostile takeovers. The alphas are just the parents, and the rest of the pack are their growing offspring. The researcher who originally popularized the term alpha was observing stressed wolves in a zoo, not the wild. He spent the rest of his career trying to correct the record, but the cartoon version of the aggressive leader had already taken hold. If we've spent years accepting these specific errors about animals we see every day, it is worth looking at our assumptions about the broader history of life and how the process of evolution actually works. You've likely seen evolution depicted as a single straight line, a primate slowly standing up and walking forward until it becomes a modern human. This image is misleading because it implies that biology is a ladder. It suggests that nature is constantly striving toward perfection, with humans as the final goal. In reality, evolution looks more like this diagram. It's a messy, sprawling bush where different species branch out from common ancestors over millions of years. Nature isn't trying to build an ultimate creature. It only adapts populations to be good enough to survive where they live right now. Humans aren't at the top of a biological hierarchy. We are simply one successful branch among millions of others that are also currently surviving. Another common misunderstanding is that animals try to adapt, like a giraffe stretching its neck to reach higher leaves until it eventually grows longer. But natural selection is actually a process of genetic luck. Some giraffes were randomly born with slightly longer necks. Because those individuals were able to eat more and survive, they passed that trait on to the next generation. This mechanical reality is often obscured by a common source of confusion. You may have heard someone dismiss the concept of evolution by saying, "It's just a theory." In casual conversation, a theory is a hunch, but in science, it's a structural framework supported by massive evidence. We use the same word for the theory of gravity. Nobody expects a dropping apple to float away, even though we call that explanation a theory. Evolutionary theory is a rigorously tested framework based on environmental reality, not a conscious effort by animals or a simple guess by researchers. We've seen a version of nature filled with cartoon tropes, a linear race to the top, featuring aggressive alphas and blind bats, and animals struggling to level up. But the real science describes a much different reality, a system built on sprawling, interconnected family trees. This shows why the idea that humans evolved from monkeys is incorrect. We actually evolved alongside them, tracing our lineage back to a shared junction point with a common ancestor that is now extinct. It also changes how we understand the phrase survival of the fittest. In biology, being the fittest doesn't mean being the strongest or the most violent. It just means having the traits that allow an organism to slot perfectly into its specific environmental niche. By looking past the cartoon assumptions, we find a system of life driven by environmental reality. It shows that we aren't isolated from nature. We are deeply connected to every other living thing on the planet.